What's up, Magical Misfits? Drew here, and this week I want to talk about what I'm calling power planets. But before I get to that, I have a quick little PSA of sorts. It's ridiculous that I even have to say this, but it's not okay to kill Black men. It's ridiculous because it should be self-evident, It's not okay to kill anybody. But that's not the country that I live in. It's not self-evident where I live. And so we do have to say it. We have to say it's not okay. We have to say Black Lives Matter. So if you're not here for it and you don't want to hear what I have to say on the topic, then you shouldn't watch this video. And if you're not here for it because you don't support the Black Lives Matter movement, then you shouldn't watch any of my videos. I've gone back and forth with myself on whether or not I wanted to even make this video. I talked about it with friends and family. I am not a huge presence on social media. I don't enjoy social media. For me, it is mainly a platform for me to promote my business. And that's pretty much what I use it for. So for various reasons, it feels a bit hypocritical for me to jump on the bandwagon and make a bunch of posts and, put up all the appropriate hashtags. Not just because I'm not active on there. It's just, I feel personally like there are other ways I would like to tackle the issue that feel more authentic. And I just got to say it, less like clout chasing. Now, I am not making any judgments about anyone else. However you choose to address the topic and to stand against injustice and racism and whatever that looks like, however that manifests for you in your world, I make no judgments about that. Like I fully support you 100%. I'm not here to tell anybody else how to navigate the situation. I am just speaking from myself and how it feels for me from where I am. The main area in which I engage, the platform I use most is this, my YouTube channel. So the thought is, do I stay silent and not say anything, which doesn't feel good? Or do I try to chime in and lend my support in whatever way I can? Which in its own way also doesn't feel really good. I have a difficult time navigating this as a white person, and I will tell you why. First, though, I know, like, when I sit and say to myself, if I make a full video on this topic and I title it appropriately and I throw up all of the corresponding hashtags, that video is going to get a lot of views. That makes me uncomfortable. It makes me uncomfortable, not because I don't want people to see this and to hear what I have to say. It makes me uncomfortable because it feels like, in some small way, unintentionally, I am making it about me. I am not profiting, but I'm getting something out of it, and that makes me really uncomfortable. So I decided to just tack on what I have to say at the beginning of this week's video. That way, I feel like if you're meant to see it, you'll see it. And I'm not generating a lot of traffic or attention to my channel off the back of something that is horrific. And again, there are plenty of people who have made videos and titled them appropriately and used the hashtags, and I make no judgment about that. I genuinely do not believe that their intention is to, for the most part, the people in this community anyway, that their intention is to get a lot of views and a lot of traffic to their channel. That this is just how it feels for me. Maybe if I wasn't white, I wouldn't feel that way, but that's the way I feel. So I'm not putting any hashtags. I'm not putting an appropriate video, and I'm not making a separate video unto itself. It totally deserves that, but it feels icky somehow. I don't know how to explain that. Again, it's not a judgment against anyone else. It's just I have to be able to look at myself in the mirror and feel good about my choices. And so this is how I'm choosing to navigate this situation. All right, back to the part of having a hard time as a white person. More into that. I have been privy and part of many conversations with other white people about this. And the glaring fact that has emerged from it all is that so many of us as white people are really, really unconscious and ignorant to systemic racism and to our own privilege. Nobody has said that I've been chatting with, no one has ever said anything overtly racist or hateful, or even that sounded like they thought they were superior to anyone. It's just genuinely not understanding their own privilege, not seeing how what they're saying is coming from a place of privilege. It's infuriating. It literally makes me cringe. It makes me angry. It makes me sad. It's so upsetting for me. It's not about me, but I don't want to make this about me at all. I just have a message for white people. If you, as a white person, have never looked into systemic racism, I think most of us are aware that it exists, but if you've never actually looked into the particulars of it, I implore you to do so. There's so much information on the internet, videos, there's blogs, there's essays, whatever. There's so much information on the internet about systemic racism that is coherent, it's comprehensive, it's, easily digested. I would look at more than one source because you never know who's slanted with an agenda from one side or the other. But to see in detail the specifics of how the system is rigged and always has been and how that manifests, it's horrifying. It really is. It's horrifying. And if you've not looked at that, then you're wearing blinders. And I get it. Ignorance is bliss. But we really, 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 as white people, need to educate ourselves. Let's have some integrity. If we say we believe in something, let's stand for it and let's really get behind it. I also implore white people to hold space for people of color to speak of their experiences, for us to listen and to really hear what's being said, and to not make it about us. It affects us, sure, it affects us, but it's not about us. We are here to stand with and to support and to prop up, to stand against, to defend, to witness. Don't make it about us. I haven't looked into this, so I don't know the specifics if it's actually accurate, and I honestly can't remember. I may be remembering the planets and the planet in the zodiac sign wrong. But I heard that I think it's Saturn is in Aquarius right now, which has not happened since the civil rights movement. So the stars have aligned for this. It's very painful. It's very hard. But the cosmos is telling us that it's time again for change. And as a human being who has lived in this earthly realm, it is long overdue. It's kind of a segue, intentional and unintentional, but let's get to the topic again. That's basically all I want to say about that. Okay, so power planets. What is she talking about? Sorry, it was really heavy, and now we're just going to go into light regular Drew mode, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. What are power planets? It's just something that I don't even know if that's a thing. I mean, this whole thing may be a thing. I don't know. I just know that there was a video forever ago on Starting Out Solitaire where we were talking about astrology for some reason, and this thought just popped in my head, and I've kind of been marinating on it for a couple months, I don't know. And it's not a fully fleshed out or formed thing. And like I said, it might actually be a thing somewhere, but I've never heard of it. But I thought I would share the thoughts that I've had thus far and what it is I'm toying with when it comes to astrology. Let's just pretend like everybody only knows the very basics about astrology, all right? You have a birth chart. This is a map of the heavens the moment that you were born. And so there are what are referred to as houses, and there are 12 of them, and they sort of rule over different things. A zodiac will be in a different house depending, again, upon when you were born, I believe. I am not an expert on astrology. But then the planets will be in different houses, as will some zodiac signs, and yada, yada, yada. Astrology is hugely complicated, actually. There are so many layers. But at any rate, for this thought exercise, for this experiment that I hope to work with in the future at some point, it is about what planets fall in what houses within an individual's birth chart. Now, obviously, that can tell us a lot about our personality and life experiences and how we handle certain situations or how they manifest in our life and whatever, but that's not what I'm getting at. I'm purely looking at spellcraft point of view with this. How do the different planets being in different houses, how can I work with that in my magic to be better at crafting magic and manifesting and all that good stuff? Like, is that possible? Is that a thing? Is that even a thing? It seems like it should be a thing to me. I believe it's a thing. But how do I do that? How do I work with that? So I'm not going to get into the specifics of my own birth chart for this video. I have just made up some stuff. So we're going to pretend. And if this is a name of somebody somewhere, I apologize. It is not intentional. I just came up with it so that I have something to say. So the Flaky Witch. So we're going to use the Flaky Witch as an example. And let's say that in the Flaky Witch's birth chart, Mars falls in her 8th house. Okay. The 8th house is death and regeneration. So you've got spiritual transformation, birth, inheritance, taxes, psychic abilities, knowledge, death, afterlife, debts, surgery, occult studies. And Mars, of course, is the planet of physical energy and sex drive and forcefulness and aggression. So how could you use the energy of Mars in a positive way to tackle any of these issues? Now, again, we could take that into just consideration in our everyday life and what we're doing in our everyday life, but I'm, again, thinking specifically about magic. So what if Flaky Witch has debts and she's trying to work some magic to get rid of those debts? Could she call in the energy of Mars to enhance that, since it lives in the house associated with debts? And would that be more powerful for her as an individual because of her birth chart and how the stars align with her as an individual and thus through her magic? It's an idea I'm playing with. So, I happen to really like working with daily astrological influence as well as planetary hours. I'm going to get my little chart out. So Mars rules Tuesday. So could working, even though, in general, if I want to work prosperity magic, I'm going to do so probably on a Thursday because that's ruled by Jupiter and that's the planet of expansion and growth and development, blah, blah, blah. But maybe the Flaky Witch might benefit more from working on a Tuesday for this issue because it's ruled by the planet that lives in the house related to what it is she's trying to do. Again, I have no idea if this is a thing, if it will really work, but I want to play with it. I want to find out. I want to discover. Also, she wouldn't necessarily have, she could take it another route, and she could not just work on Tuesday, the day ruled by that planet, but she could use the Jupiter hour of that day in the planetary hours to bring in that expansion growth energy on top of this, or vice versa. She could work on Thursday, the day ruled by Jupiter, and then find the Mars hour of that day, or there's more than one, and work her magic in that hour to sort of use those energies that are naturally aligned with what it is she's trying to do and with her to enhance her magic. I don't know. I don't know if any of that makes sense, but I am really looking forward to kind of playing with this idea of, are there power planets? Are there planets whose energy I can use in my personal magic to enhance it because they are in alignment with me and that particular issue, event, idea, experience, what have you, that I am trying to affect, change, manipulate, what have you? Again, I don't know if that makes sense to anybody, but it makes perfect sense to me. And it's something, like I said, that I am really interested in kind of playing with. As time goes on, it's only been percolating in the back of my mind. I haven't actually made any real steps. I have looked into what planets are in what houses in my chart, but I haven't actually tried to move forward with it in Magick just yet. I'm going to have to make like a little diagram, I think, of what planets are in the house of, whatever. That way I can have quick reference for if I want to do prosperity magic, or if I want to do a love spell, or if I want to do protection, or, whatever. I want to enhance my psychic abilities. I can quickly see what planet I might want to work with to do that. I say what planet, but the energies associated with the planet, whatever. Y'all get what I mean, I think. I am very much trying to pull the stars, the cosmos, universal energies, what have you, more into my magic, but as specific to me as humanly possible, basically. Anyway, if you're still here and you're still watching, thank you so much for listening to me ramble about weird ideas I have and for my little PSA. I appreciate you. Thank you. And until next time, much love and gratitude.